As ready as we'll ever be.
Hello, everyone out in Artfully Connected with Cindy Harrison Facebook group. And we are here, I am here with Miss Lydia Steeves.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me tonight and giving us such beautiful projects to paint and pencil along with you. And this is actually, can you believe it, Lydia? This is the last one in our group for the year 2020.
I don't know. It's Christmas next week.
I know. I can't
Red,
believe it.
green.
I can't.
Notice red, green.
You're all decked out. I'm not. I got green and purple. Hey. But this is wonderful, and I know that everyone out there has been enjoying these programs, and because they've been thanking me and thanking the teachers, and I just can't thank you guys enough for joining me on this journey, Artfully Connected and Artful Webinars, and all of you who have participated, encouraged, supported, all those good things, inspired our artists and me. So thank you so much. So Lydia, tell us what you've got going on tonight. And
so tonight we are going to do our January Critter Square for our easel series that we're working on. And so when the Christmas decorations come down, we will have something all ready to put back up there. And so this is acrylic and obviously a bird. And then, so I worked a little bit on, the next month there too. And next month will be something furry, but with colored pencil. Just, I'm not going to show you yet because it's not quite done, but we'll keep on going because there's
so you're alternating. You're alternating.
Yes, that's the plan. It took me a little while to sort of get that figured out, but yeah, I'm going to do it like that with some cute ones, but lots of birds or animals in slightly realistic.
So for all of you who are watching us, let us know if you are going to be painting along with her tonight, and then she will gauge her speed by whether or not you're with us. If you're just watching, then she can kind of go at her own speed. But if you are painting with us, it'd be nice to know. And then if you have any questions for her, then definitely put them in the comments. And if we don't get them answered tonight, she'll go back and she'll read them and she'll answer them later. So don't forget to tag her, meaning put her name in there, make sure it shows up in blue. Sometimes, I don't know, Facebook has been acting weird. Sometimes what I have to do is I have to put the @ sign in front of a name for it to show up. Mm-hmm. So Judy says she is painting with you tonight, and Mary Francis is also. So awesome. So definitely now you've got this audience that's going to be painting with you, so we can just check in with you once in a while and make sure that you are caught up with her.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so what do you say? You want to get going?
I think we should probably get going.
Awesome. Go for it.
Okay. All right, so this is the first acrylic one that we've done since, I guess, Mr. Gibbs. So I'll go over a little bit more of how I paint. And don't forget that I do have a free tutorial on my website if you want a little bit more detail or just want to review. So the light colors, and in a packet they usually have a little asterisk beside them. They sort of take a little bit of help to get to the right consistency, and I used to use Easy Float, and I know some people still have that kicking around, and I cut that 1:1. I have in the past, or lately, I have been using this medium, which is in the Margot Clark mudding kit. And I know you can get that at conventions, and I think that Bear With Us has that as well, as other places do as well, but those are the two places that I know carry that. And that's what we're going to be using today. You just use that straight. And I have been exploring this, the Deco Art Traditions glazing medium, and I do cut that one down to about 2 water to 1 of the glazing medium. So I've had a couple of questions lately, and people, what can you find else to use? And then they usually show me things like extender or blending gel. That's not what we're doing here. We're not trying to open the paint. What we're trying to do is just water down the paint and still have the pigment showing, or like be true to the pigment. It's not about blending or extending the open time of your paint. So you need to look for something that is a glazing medium that breaks down the paint but still lets you have pretty good pigment. That's the plan. Other than that, you can just I guess you just read the labels. And you can ask me too, but I'm not familiar with every single product, but that's the gist of what we're trying to do. All right, so the other thing that's pretty clear is that you do need a filbert grainer. And a grainer is a comb, is a rake, that kind of thing. It's got that fine little hairdo there of long and shorts. But you do need the filbert shape. Don't get the straight across. That actually isn't that easy to do because you have to be able to paint on the edge of your paintbrush. And if you've got that extra bit of length in there, it actually makes a big difference. So a filbert grainer. And Princeton is the brand that I use, but and that's what they call it, a grainer. But like I say, I think Low Canal calls it a rake, and I think we're most common with that name. Okay, so if you've got your base coating done, the first color will be Payne's Gray. Now, having told you about that medium, that is only used in the light colors because they tend to be thicker. The dark colors are already pretty transparent, and you don't need that stuff in there. Okay, so you put out your plop, and then you add some water. This is Payne's Gray. And you mix up a batch, a puddle of paint. And you will load from this puddle. And make it a decent size so that you don't have to keep doing this step here. And you won't really know if it's exactly right until you actually start to paint. But for the most part, if you swing your brush through the puddle, it should be pretty fluid and should come back together relatively quickly. If you would put your brush through this, you can see how thick that is. And that's not a good way to make this brush actually work. All right.
Have you ever heard of control medium?
Control medium? No, I haven't.
Yeah, Tracy's asking, is control medium the same? And I've never heard of it. So what brand is that, Tracy?
We'll wait for that. Okay, we'll wait for that answer. All righty. So you'll put a few little drops of water in there because it's always a little bit of a dance. It's kind of like baking. Is it cold? Is it hot? Do you have the heater on? Do you have the air conditioning on? All that kind of stuff. So you come to the side of the puddle and you just wiggle your brush back and forth. You do not hold it up like this and grind it so that the bristles open, because you don't need to do that with this brush. It has the little hairdo already, and all you need to do is make this puddle the right consistency, and then the brush works. All right, so the first step is going to be putting the Payne's Gray on these blue areas. Okay, so you see I am painting away here and nothing's really coming off the brush. So I go back and I fix it right away. And that usually happens at the beginning of the painting process because your brush isn't wet enough and you need it to be all nice and soaked up and soft. Okay, so let's try it again. Barely touching the surface and you should get a stroke. Okay, so I'm thinking I've got this now. I may have to go back and try one more time, but I think we're doing pretty good here. So this is a nice transparent color. And I'm just making little short strokes. As I come to the side here, I kind of come up on the side of my brush. You always have to be rolling your brush and thinking about how you want to place it. Okay, coming up this way. And as I come to the top, I can make some little feathers. Okay. So that's pretty much all we're going to do for the first little section or the first step. And let's put a little bit, there's a bit of back in here. There we go. And like I say, little short strokes, start in the air and finish in the air so that you don't see any stop and start strokes. Like you don't want to have this kind of a thing. Okay, you want to put little strokes on and always be changing what you're doing so that you get a nice natural look. Okay, so we'll just wash that brush and we are going to do the warm white next. Now, we are going to want this body to be pretty white. Let's have a look at this guy here. So it's white with a little bit of bluish, you know, to give it a little bit more depth and so on. So we don't want to make this so thin that it's, you know, going to take us 25 layers. It's already going to take us a little bit of layering to get that anyways. So we don't want to make it longer than we need to. So I put in a couple of drops of this pink medium here. And then I just take the back of the brush and mix that in. Okay, just wipe off that. And now we can add a little bit more water. And probably while we're talking, we'll put our 1/8 filbert grainer in the water just to kind of let it start to soak up. Okay, let's put another little, make it a little bit bigger. And wiggle it back and forth. Now, because we've used that to mix, it's a little bit too juicy to actually paint. We'll just take a little bit of that off, like blot it, and then we'll just come to the side and just wiggle it back and forth like we did with the other one. And then we'll just start, oh, see, I know almost instantly that I need to load a little bit more. Maybe I needed a little bit more paint on. Maybe it needs a little bit more water. You should know almost instantly if the brush is going to work for you, because one stroke should give you some lines. If you don't get lines, you need to go back and fix the consistency. Okay, and I'm going to spend a little time just looking at this marking and trying to join up the little white lines up into the dark so that you have it a natural joining. And it looks to me like I brought this over a little bit too far, my dark collar thing there. So I'm going to start to trim it. Things don't happen in one step. You just have to build things up. And you're actually should be kind of happy that it doesn't happen in one step, because that way you can have a little bit of room for error. Okay, so I'm just kind of flicking it back into the black and then bringing it down. Okay, sort of flicking it back up and bringing it down. I'll just put a couple of my little drops there, pick them up. And you're following that feather direction. So these don't come straight down. I don't know if you can see. So you see these kind of curve this way, and then these kind of curving this way, and some of them curve down, and then they flick up here at the edge. All that's kind of important. Okay, think about what you want here. And maybe bring it in a little bit more, because we can always bring the black out. And I'll bring these out here. It's winter blue jay, so it's going to be fluffy. Think about your edge. Make sure it's nice. Now, one of the questions that lots of people do ask is, do I start at the bottom of the bird and then work up, or do I start at the top and work down, or bird or any other animal that I'm doing? But if you start your stroke in the air and finish it in the air, you should be able to start anywhere on the animal that you are making. Okay. So I could start in the middle here. I can start over here. I can start at the edge. Doesn't matter. There we go. This is sort of comes like a nice little curve that way. And we will swing it back in here. So shapes are important. So if you'll notice that it's not straight down. We have a little bit of a curve here, a little bit of a curve there. This kind of curves in that way. Try to keep some of that. It's important for markings that you have that. Okay. So it's a little bit whiter than this. It's not there yet. It's okay.
So they're saying it's gorgeous. They're loving it. I think they're keeping up with you. No one's complained.
All right.
And that medium is, control medium is Americana. So I've not heard of it. So
yeah, no, I'll have to look into that, but I don't know. Control medium, hey? I thought when they discontinued the Easy Float that I tried a few of their other things and I couldn't quite find anything. And then I looked into that Finny. And it was a
yes,
glistening medium. Yeah, I did use that for a while. And the only problem with that one is you couldn't really get it. And then you had to buy this big bottle of it too. So you don't really need that much. Okay, so now on the face, so you can see the direction here. It's quite a curve coming up here, and then I'll call it like that. So you could go to the 1/8. I mean, we did put it in the water, but it is a more difficult brush to load, and it doesn't really go as far. So I would say try to stick with the 1/4 as long as you can, and then drop down when you absolutely need to. So you can see I'm right up on the chisel edge there, and you can do a lot with this brush. So, you know, don't admit defeat and go to the small one too soon. Now maybe here, you might have a little bit more trouble. We want to have a nice eyebrow. It's all about, look at that. I mean, that's very handsome, right? So we've got one coming up this way and then a second one coming that way. And we are going to try to do that again. Okay, pick up another little dot because I'm just a little drying out here a bit. And you see, you can do one line if you use the side of your brush. There we go. And be a little bit dramatic, because you're never really as dramatic as you think. And then at the end, you really want to have that nice, I mean, he's handsome, but he knows he's handsome. He's got a lot of attitude here. So you want to give him eyebrows that he's going to be proud of.
The brush is called a filbert grainer, right?
Yes, that's the Princeton Select one that I use. Okay, and I'll just do a little bit more here on this cheek. Little short strokes, tap, 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 tap. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And now we're going to change to that 1/8 with the Payne's Gray. So we did black on here. And I'm just going right into this same one. I'm picking up a couple of those drops and mixing it in, blotting the brush. Every time you mix a little bit on that puddle, you may have to blot. So let's just see what we've got. And this isn't going to super show. It's just going to make the black more interesting. So I'm going to pull it towards the white here and then pull it this way towards that white. And just keep doing that. And again, think about that shape. What do you want? What do you want it to look like? Pull it back. Now you're thinking about this shape, where the two things join. It doesn't have to match exactly. If you look at the birds in your yard or whatever, there are variations. But for the most part, they're not like super straight and boring, I guess. Always want to keep an eye on that. And this is Payne's Gray, so we already know that we had it up here. So you can kind of roll that into the back of that head and make it sort of join up nicely. Let's see down here. We'll do a little bit here as well. So I'm just looking at what I've got, because that's quite nice there. So look, a little bit of a scallopy thing happening here, which I like. So I'm going to try to do that again. And then we'll do a little bit here. And now we need to think about what we want right in here. So we want to have some, let's see, you just want hardly anything really. But let's try to make some of this line. This one comes this way. If it gets too dark, just press it with your finger while it's wet. I'm just putting a little bit of shadow in there. And I want a little something here as well. So I'm just tapping it. I think that might be enough. You just don't want to be adding too much because we already know that the white's going to take a little bit to cover, so we don't want to make our lives too difficult. I'm going to put some in here though. Just like a little bit of a shadow between the belly and this back of head. Something weird going on there, but I'll get to that, I guess, in a little bit. All right, so we've got transparent shadows in there. We've figured out how things are joining. And then we're going to do, I'm going to just fix up my beak a little bit because when I did my snowflakes, it looks like I had got a little bit of mess going there. I'm just going to take my black and fix that up. Okay. And then we need peacock teal. And we're going to do the highlight with a dry brush on the beak. So we will need warm white too, and we'll need fresh warm white though. We don't want the warm white that has the medium in it, because that's just going to be too it's going to be too wet. Okay. And you're going to need your 1/8 lunar blender. Pick up some of the peacock teal. And we will do the first highlight. It's not much. It's just because we need something else other than, blue. And peacock teal is nice. Gives a little extra something, something. So you can see it's just, I'm hardly putting anything there, but it's over a lot of the beak. It's actually over pretty much the whole beak, to be perfectly honest. Okay, and then we'll pick up the warm white. And so it'll just end up being like light peacock teal. And we'll just very gently put a little bit of that on. Kind of come down there. And I think we can do one more Now that's a little bit of a nostril. We can start trying to make that. We don't want it to be obvious. We don't want to paint it in with a black splotch or oval or anything like that. We just want to keep an eye on where that could be. There we go. That's enough for now. A couple more things. You can see I bring the black back, and we got some blue coming on there as well, but that's good for now. And while we have that peacock teal out, we're actually going to rake some of that on the blue parts of the bird. Okay, I'm just going to pull that away so that I don't get it contaminated. Now, with a color like peacock teal, kind of in the middle of the road, do you put the stuff in or do you not? You know, you could if you wanted to. I'm going to give it a try without. Okay, just kind of get it kind of mixed
It's
in.
real soupy, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, and you've mixed up a batch, so then you blot it. And then you come to the side here and load your brush. So we're going to kind of rake wash it, I guess. So that just means we're adding color without really making, you know, not making a lot of lines, but we're adding another layer of color. So we're thinking shoulder. And you could put a decent amount on. It might end up disappearing by the time we're finished, but that's okay. Again, you don't want to stick with just one color all the time. You want to have lots of color. It might be subtle, but you want to still have lots of color. So I'm putting it on the head as well. It's not a highlight, it's not a shade, it's just a color. So I'm just putting here, not trying to obliterate what we've done before. I can still see my sapphire, I can still see the Payne's gray. Not too much there, and well, let's just put a little something on the belly too. So let's just put a little bit here on the front part, and then maybe a little bit on the throat. Sweep it back and forth. It's just a little step. It's nothing major. It's a little bit of a sticky color. You could have put a couple of drops in here if you felt like it. Okay. So you see, the one thing I didn't do though, it's not a polka dot or a section where there's harsh edges on the side. It just kind of starts here and then it disappears into the white. So it's not going to be difficult to, you know, to add another layer on top. So we are going to add some more white because, well, we need to have things a little bit whiter. So we still have our puddle or our plop, but our puddle's dried up. So that just means we come to the side here of this part, and I've already put the stuff in that. And I just need to add a bit more water to get it to flow, that's all. And I have changed to my 1/8 now, just because we do want to, we've already done the one sort of general step, and now we're going to try to put in some, you can see, just very, very, very short taps, because the fur, the feather right here is super short. So you don't want to get into a big long stroke. And besides, it also makes a fun texture that helps with the texture of this area of the bird. And so sometimes you have to kind of keep turning your piece, because if you keep going this way, your arm doesn't want to turn that way. So the easiest thing is just to give your surface a wee bit of a turn. Because you really, really want that curve to come up and echo the shape of the eye, and this part kind of comes around, and this, like, I really think that's a big part of what makes this guy look like a blue jay, I guess. So you need to get that part. And as you come up to your dark section, think about just making some little careful lines into your black. You could go to a liner on the very edge too. So if you just don't want to do, or you don't feel like you have the control on that very, very edge to make that nice little joining, then you could go to your liner. Just do as much as you can with the 1/8, and then you can finish up there. Nothing wrong with that. So I'll go right over top of the Payne's Gray, because that will tone the Payne's Gray down, and it should shine through. Trying to keep that scallopy thing happening there. You can see how it's going to take a couple of coats there, but that's okay, because it will come. Let's get the eyebrow in. Okay, that's all right. And then I'm going to change to the quarter, and I'm going to do the chest. You had a 3/8, you could probably have used that too for the chest. It's not too much. You know, I mean, basically, it's white. He does seem rather chubby, doesn't he? Very wide across here.
He's got a big chest. He's puffed
He
up.
definitely does.
He's attracting the females. I'd love to know how the ladies, there's at least a half a dozen, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that were painting along with you. I'd love to hear from them. If are you keeping up with Lydia? How's yours looking?
Too busy painting?
I mean, I hope so.
I think the thing with this one is it's going to take a few layers to get the desired white. However, you really have to, when you're painting white things, you have to really stop yourself before you make it, you know, like a snowstorm kind of white. You really want some of those colors to show through. There we go. I just kind of, I don't know what happened here. It might be end up being like one of those haircuts, you know, where you take a little bit off and you take a little bit off. And then all of a sudden you have a bad haircut.
He's a COVID bird.
There's something very crazy going on there. I'll fix that. Things happen, right?
That's right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's nice when the teacher makes a mistake, because then we get to learn how to fix it if it happens to us.
I would say just like don't get too excited about things like that, and always just say, well, I've got, especially with acrylic, my goodness, acrylic is just so much easier in that regard. You just wait for it to dry and then you just try again. And then you just put another layer, and many layers make the best looking animals. They really do. So things they don't need to be right the first time. It's a combination of a bunch of different things. Anyways, I just had to kind of clean up my eye there too. And with birds, I mean, they do have irises. Can you see a bit of brown? It's not a completely black eye, but at the same time, it's not like a cat where that's really, like you can really super see exactly where the irises are. So we want to have a subtle little difference there. So we will just take that traditional burnt umber and maybe just pick up a little tiny bit of warm white, just enough. If you just put the burnt umber on there, you probably wouldn't see it at all.
Was there a name to that Margot's mix that you're using?
It's not very exciting. It's called medium.
Okay. Oh, how original.
Now that's maybe why she went with the flaming pink label. I don't know, because the name was not exciting, so she decided to go exciting with the label. Maybe that, I don't know. Okay, so you can see, just want a little bit of a brown iris. If it's too bright, you can put a little bit more of the traditional burnt umber on there. If it's not bright enough, you know, add a little bit more white.
So some people are actually keeping up with you. Isn't that exciting?
That is very good. Very good.
And then some people had to take the dog for a walk.
Those pesky dogs, eh? They always need to go for a walk.
Robin likes our COVID bird excuse.
Okay. Well, you know, why not use whatever we can? And so what I did with that traditional burnt umber, just because it's a kind of a warm color and everything we've done is very cool. So I've just taken a little tiny bit of TBU and I put a little bit in there, and maybe just a little something over here too. It just warms it up a little bit. I mean, I wanted it icy and wintry, but at the same time, you want to give a little bit of balance. So yeah, I don't know, where else would you like to have it? Maybe a little bit in here. You know, don't get carried away. Just put a little something in there. Okay. Now we are going to just take that 1/8 lunar blender again, and we're going to do a little tiny bit. It's not very big. It just is not very big. So it's going to be a little secondary highlight right here at the back. And I really mean not very big and not very bright. And then we will just take our one round and put in the dot. Right there. And if you've got one of those super teeny weeny ones, I guess you could have maybe used it there. Yikes, see? May as well. We're going to do another little bit of a highlight on the beak. Right in here, try to get that nostril-y shape. Maybe you got it on that first one and you don't have to do this. I don't know. I think that's about as bright as we want it. And then let's go back to the grainer and we'll do a little bit more on the head. This time we'll do it with warm whites. And so my puddle is still doing pretty good there. So I'm just going to go into that one and use it. Maybe you need to put out a couple more drops. And so this time, so we've got about 2 layers on there. So with each layer, you just need to think about what it is that you're trying to do. So the first layer, you just put it on everything you want. And even the peacock too, yeah, just put it on, put it on. But now with this warm white, we think about it. We think, okay, so let's try to pull up some work there on the front. Super, super fine lines. Very fine lines. And short. And every time you put the brush down, you just do a little something different. And you can see I'm still down here in this little area here. I have not got anywhere close to up here. So just take your time. And watch what you're doing. Okay, and just kind of work your way nice and slowly towards the top of the head. Think about your direction. Like we just kind of went straight up here, but this time maybe we want a little bit of a curve. Okay, kind of over the eye and then up this way. We're not really trying to whiten the head, so that's okay. We just are trying to get some texture and we're trying to lighten up the blue a bit. And it's fairly dark, excuse me, at the back, so maybe we won't We won't go so far thinking that we do. I mean, you can put a few in, but just know that, of course, it's going to be darker there. And I kind of like this too, another curve. You see how that is a curve? So let's see if we can't get that. There. Okay, well, I think that's all right. Now, depending on your background, like if you have a super pale background, you won't necessarily want to go right to the edge and make that edge super pale. I know on this one, I went back and I added some blue because I was losing some edges and I, wanted to see those. It's okay to have some lost edges though. See how that's pale against pale? You just don't want the whole front of the head so that, you can't see. But that depends on what you've done in the background. Maybe you've been like super dark with your blue. Okay, I'm just kind of putting that in there too. Another coat of white. All right. Now, while we're here, why don't we just put another coat of white on here too, because it needs to be whiter. And we know kind of what we're doing here. So we'll just zap it in. So even though I'm saying we're just sort of like, zipping right in here and just doing it, I'm still thinking about what it is that I'm trying to do. I'm still thinking about the direction of the strokes and the length of the strokes, what I want to do on the edge of my little body here.
Denise said that so far she likes what you are doing. You like this one.
You liked what I'm doing on this second one?
It says, so far, I like this one. You are doing best.
Oh, well.
So out of all the critter squares, I guess, so far that she's seen, you like this one the best.
Oh, I thought she meant she liked this one better than this one.
Yeah, no, I think that she means out of all your critter squares that she's seen. But Denise, go ahead and clarify. But I think that's what she's saying.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I'm just getting better and better all the time, right?
Yeah. Practice makes perfect.
I know. Well, there's just so many animals. I'm quite excited about all the different things. I definitely know there's lots of bird people out there and there's lots of cat people, but then I've got to try to think of a couple of other things too, right? Can't do those all the time. So I know somebody said hedgehog.
I know, which Lydia is always open to suggestions if you want to suggest things to her. Patty's like, are both the backgrounds the same color blue?
Yes, they are. And I know I was very bold with the second one, wasn't I? Just depends what day it is, I suppose. If I decide that I don't want it that bold, when I'm finished everything, I can just put another little wash of warm white.
Jackie says she sees coasters in her future.
Ah. Will you let people use them?
I suppose if you have good protection on them, right? Oh, raccoons.
Oh, well, we'll have to
Robin
do a
says
raccoon, won't we? Definitely we'll have to do a raccoon.
there's going to be a real tiny baby raccoon on a 4-inch square. Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, yes, we are a little bit limited, aren't we?
What's a red doxy?
A red, a dachshund?
DOXIE.
I think that's a daxi, it's a dachshund, like it's a dog.
It's a dog. Paula
Yeah.
wants a red doxy, please.
Now that's specific.
I guess.
I know. Okay.
Oh, Patty says she likes the second one being darker.
Oh, well, you see that? Yes, exactly.
Then you interpreted it correctly. I did not.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have on this one, I have the glitter, so maybe it's not showing up quite as well. But I do think that this was darker when I was looking at it after I came down here. Oops, from dinner. I thought, oh, I was a little bit bolder this time round. Okay, so now we're just going to look. So you see in the instructions, I did say now at this particular stage that I did wash in a little bit of the sapphire blue here and here. So this would be the time for you to look too and see if you do need to put a little bit of darkness in there. I don't think I need to do it on this one. So I think we can just, move along. And we're going to go back to the Payne's gray, and we're going to try to get the back of the head. Okay, so you see now what we're doing here too, same sort of thing. Let's just see how this is kind of a nice shape, whereas this is a bit on the blunt side. So we're going to try to just keep an eye on that and make this a little bit more handsome. Okay, I was going to start painting on that one. That would not be good. And then we're going to just keep working this little section here. I think it was just a direction thing. It's just super important for you to actually look at what you're painting. And when you put a stroke down, just sort of say, okay, that's what I wanted or didn't want. And don't panic when it's something that you don't want, because like I said, you can always go back and add another layer. So I changed that, and then I'm just going to bring the white back. So you see, this would be a section of when I was telling you that what we're not trying to do is open the time of the acrylic paint, because I put the dark on and now I'm going right into the light. And if you had extender in your paint, then you wouldn't really be able to do that. So extender is not what we're looking for. There we go. And I'm just putting a little bit of white just on that outer edge.
Becky says she loves the little critters. She says hedgehog, mouse, squirrel, etc.
Yeah. Well, definitely we'll have to do squirrels and chipmunks.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to do some of those.
Your mice are really cute too, though. You've been doing mice. And we
I
love
do
them.
love my little mouse. We actually had a little mouse. We got it from one of my painting students when my daughter is a real critter person, and she it was from her cottage, and she felt that her cats probably killed the mother, and basically ate or killed a couple of the siblings as well, and so she felt bad, and she brought the little mouse to us. So we were supposed to rehabilitate it, I guess, or like give it another chance. And so we did. And he was I think he was a happy boy. We had him for about 3 years, I think. And he died one Thanksgiving. We gave him pumpkin pie every Thanksgiving, and he loved his pumpkin pie, and he loved his whipped cream, and he lasted 3 years, and we got lots of great pictures, and we enjoyed him. We got one of those hamster balls because we too have cats, and we put him in the little hamster ball, and he'd run around the house in that little hamster ball.
I can't believe you fed the mouse pumpkin pie, though.
He loved pumpkin pie. He loved it.
Wow.
And we realized that mice are smarter than guinea pigs, because we also had guinea pigs at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you clean the cage of a guinea pig and you move the house from the left side of the cage to the right side of the cage, the guinea pig would stay on its own little track, and then it would almost bang into the house because you moved the house.
Right.
And it was expecting the door of the house to be there, and of course it wasn't. So it wasn't that bright. It was
No,
cute,
they're not.
that bright. And then we would do the same thing for the little Itsy boy. We would change his whole cage around, and we'd move his little peanuts and all that kind of stuff. And he spent all night, every time we changed his cage, he would spend all night fixing it. So the next morning, we wake up, and all the nuts were back where they needed to be.
So he would do interior decorating in his house?
Well, we just felt that he was a smart little guy.
Wow.
I know. All right, so we've done the Payne's Gray. Okay, and we're going to take out our angle shader, and we're going to shade the top of the eye, just above the eye, with a little bit of Payne's Gray too. So just, we're just going to try to get in there just to kind of set that eye in. We'll do it first with the Payne's Gray, and then we'll probably go back and darken that with a bit of black after that. Okay.
I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who's here joining us tonight. You've got 86 watchers watching you.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, if you have any questions for Lydia, please post them in the comments, and she'll answer them either while we're here or later on. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for taking the time out to watch the replay, and let us know where you're watching from. And if you're going to paint along with her, or at least paint it at all, then please post it in the Facebook group and remember to tag Lydia, meaning type in her name, and mine too, so we can ooh and ah over your beautiful painting.
Yeah, I'd really like to see them. Okay, so I'm just putting black like right in here to make sure that it looks dark along the top. And I'm going to just do a little bit of black up here as well. So I did the Payne's Gray, but I think the black has a little bit more punch. Yeah, that's better. Just maybe make sure that you've got a nice little triangle-y bit here at the back. Okay. So you need to, whiten as you, we could go back and whiten up in here too, but let's just kind of finish up a few of these little things, because you can always do that part. And just kind of work back and forth. You could do a little bit more white here if you like, and back and forth and back and forth. And then we also have a little bit of purple. Deoxazine purple, because why not? Right, Cindy? A little purple makes everything better.
Yep, it does. Just like bacon and food, right?
Bacon is always a good thing too, yes.
I know.
All right, so you see I'm just popping in a little bit of purple. Just here and there, and then maybe a little bit. I can see a little bit right there, so I'm just going to put a little bit more in there. That's probably it. And then I go ahead and put some in there too. Just remember to keep that super, super transparent, because again, you've got to go back to the white, all the time. Now, do you need more peacock teal? I think I'm okay with the amount that I've got. Did you lose your sapphire? If you lost your sapphire, or for instance, if you went a little too crazy with the white, maybe you need to do a little bit more of the sapphire blue. Again, just kind of look to see what you've got and what you might need. So I'm thinking, if anything, if I look at this one, I might need to just go back with the warm white. And everything looks better with a bunch of layers. So, you know, when we're done here, probably tomorrow or whatever, I would go back and just repeat things, just repeat them. There we go. Now we need to do these fuzzy, the beak part there.
Yeah, I wondered what that was.
Yeah, well, lots of birds have sort of fuzz sort of hanging over like this way. And these guys just maybe have a bit more. So you could try with the 1/8. And we're not just going to go straight to warm white though. We're going to actually do maybe a little bit of a brush mix of the warm white and the sapphire blue. And that's just going to give us a little bit of like a shadowy one. Again, like you don't want to just jump right to the end always. You want to sort of take your time getting there. So we're just going to put in a few. It also gives you a little chance to think about which direction you would put them. So we've got some of these coming down this way.
So, so someone is asking about telling the people more about where they can get these patterns from. And so you have some of them under the acrylics heading, and you have some under colored pencil heading, right?
Well, yeah, when you go to my website, you have to pick which side you're going to, I guess. Are you interested in colored pencil, or are you interested in acrylic? So this one is acrylic, so you'd go into acrylic.
I'll put the link for this one in the comments.
Yeah,
but,
and then you go to e-packets because it's going to be in an e-pack, and then you go to birds because it's going to be in birds, obviously.
So what brush are you using to do those small strokes? Is that your grainer?
It is my 1/8, yes. So I'm going to start off with that. And then I'm going to finish up with a liner. And I tend to like that 10-0 short one. You might have your favorite one too. And so I will just, so you see I've got the palish blue ones, and then I'll just finish up with some white ones. And there are some that come up this way too. Here we go. And then just look, I'm thinking, well, you know what? I actually do would like to have a little bit more. I would like a little bit of black in here. Remember what we said though, you don't want to be super obvious about it. So just kind of tap it in there. You have to bring your white back, that's fine too. You just want it dark. You want a suggestion of a nostril. Much better to put a little bit on and then add more as you need it. And I'm also looking at my beak here. And I would like to bring the float of black just to kind of soften that there. See how that just kind of softens and makes the bottom and the dry brush that we did earlier kind of work together. Now it says to float sapphire blue along that bottom edge too. So we're just going to wait for that to dry. Plus, I think I'm going to put a little at the top. So we can do the top one now. It's not a big thing. If you have a lot of highlights showing, it maybe will show up a little bit better, but it's supposed to be a black beak and we're just adding a little something something.
Do you sell the brushes on your website too?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit at the bottom there. It just makes that black not so stark, I guess. So we're just about done here. You know, this is pretty good. I'm surprised.
You surprising yourself?
Well, the fact that I actually got the timing right, because usually I have a little too much for, you know, the hour. I mean, I do know that I'm going over the hour,
It's
but
okay.
I'm okay with that too.
I give you 90 minutes.
Yeah, I know. And I am really trying hard to make
No,
sure.
you're doing fine. And as long as the people are staying with you.
Okay.
So
oh yeah, they haven't drifted off.
they have not drifted off, not in the least.
Okay. So I'm just going back here now and I'm looking at my black and I'm thinking, is it black enough? Do I have the edges of it looking nice? Do I maybe need to go to a liner to fix that up? Or is the 1/8 doing the trick? And right now the 1/8 is doing the trick. And remember we had the Payne's gray on here too. So if you're going to go over and over and over, you can do a black and then you could do maybe a bit of Payne's gray and then you can do a black and then, you know, go back and forth like that. You don't see the Payne's gray so much. It just makes the black, again, like I say, not too boring, not too flat and stark. So look at these little things too. Do you need to do any more of those? I don't think I do actually. So here on this one, I see my black And I'm thinking, well, I'd like to do something a little bit more. So I'm not choosing black this time. What I'm choosing to do this step with is the Payne's Gray. So it's like more of a shadowed blue. All right, does anybody see anything? I mean, other than the fact that, like I say, I probably would go back and do a few more layers, and definitely you need to do more white. Okay, so I would say, you see how white the cheeky part is? Let's just,
Are you going to go back in with the titanium white, or are you going to stay with the warm white?
well, you know, I just stayed with the warm, but technically you could go titanium. We are planning on doing icy, right? What I just noticing was that I don't like the shape of it. So I am taking my liner.
Robin says Bluejay steal her dog's food, her dog's dog food.
They're very cheeky and they're quite bold. Yes. It's a good thing they're handsome.
They're mean though.
I think they are actually, yeah, but we don't want to get into that.
Okay, but they are beautiful.
Okay, so you see how I'm just kind of really making this nice? It's kind of more about that than a lot of other things. Like, don't try to beat the white to death. It's more, this needs to be pretty. And then when you do the white up above the eye, so I want this to be white here, and right over the eye here is always a good place to make it bright. Don't necessarily want to go all the way down into that corner. I want to keep the brightness right there. And if I'm going to brighten up this part here, I can maybe just brighten it up right here. Yeah. Okay, I like that. I wouldn't spend too much more time there because that's not really too much part of it. And don't do too much here either, because that is going to be like a shadowed area because of the beak and all that. So keep your brightness here, keep your brightness there over the eye so people look at the eye. And then just at the very end, you know, that ultra fine, it's not just the glamour dust, but that ultra fine glamour dust paint, I like to do that. That's what you see here. And I just take a big brush and I slap that all over everything. And then a regular varnish. That's pretty much it.
Woohoo!
There's that Starlight top coat. Do you remember that? I used to have
yeah.
that too. So you mean you could do something along that kind of line too. You could, I think if you wanted to spray like a little toothbrush and spray that with a little bit of extra snowflakey bits, that might look nice too. Just wipe off the eye. Make sure you don't put like another sparkle in the eye. But I think that's pretty much it.
Sweet.
Very sweet. Very sweet.
How's everyone doing? Everyone's saying they love this, and thank you to both of us. They enjoy it so much and they love your critter squares. Did you want to show what you're doing? You have another critter square done for the convention.
I do. I have the acrylic March one, Bunny in the Flocks. So that'll be a make and take at the convention on that Facebook page, however you're doing that.
Yeah, the private Facebook group for anyone who is attending the convention.
Yeah. And I'll just get you excited about the colors I'm going to be using for the February one. Ooh,
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
neon
love those colors.
pink. So that's all exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I can
So
say
if you haven't signed up for the convention yet, she's also doing 2 projects for that.
I'm doing a colored pencil. And if you've always wanted to maybe try soft pastel, this is a beginner soft pastel done with a smallish box of new pastels. And teach you how to get that nice light in the ear. So that's going to be pretty fun, I think. And of course, I have the colored pencil of that little Ollie.
Yes, he's adorable.
Here we go. I found it. It found it. This little guy here.
He's adorable. He's so real.
Yeah, no, he was obviously pretty young because he still has his blue eyes. Baby kitties are born with blue eyes there. Yeah, yeah.
We have a question from Lydia asking, what could she use if she doesn't have any peacock teal?
All right, somebody else asked that, and I thought maybe there was that teal mint. That was one color. Bluegrass green. I still love that one. There's quite a few. Deco has quite a few in that whole range of just pretty kind of teal colors. Antique teal, I think, is a bit dull. So, yeah, I think I'd go with some of those brighter ones. I could think teal mint looked good to me. And, well, I'm always...
Is it sweet mint or teal mint?
Oh, really? I don't
Whatever.
know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have my book here, so I can't remember. But I thought it was teal mint.
Someone's asking about Galaxy varnish.
Galaxy varnish. Is that got big, huge chunks in it? I think it does.
Anything Galaxy to me sounds like it's got big, huge chunks.
Yeah. And so that's not my taste. Like, I mean, this is kind of as glittery as I get, I guess. Glamour dust and ultra glamour dust, fine paint. But, I think if you put it on in the background, maybe that would look nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's up to you. I think all those things are personal taste. Like maybe sometimes just even what I've done isn't what other people would like. So,
And the bunny flocks, that's acrylic or colored pencil?
Yeah, no, that's acrylic.
Acrylics, okay. That's what they're asking. And is the convention in person or virtual? It's virtual, just like this sort of kind of. It's a Zoom classroom. So they're all in Zoom classrooms, so you don't have to leave your house.
But then the thing is that's nice about that, of course, is that I can see yours.
Yes.
And that we could have a little chit chat back and forth. Not for this, but the actual classes, yeah. So that's like a little bit nicer too, right?
Anne loves all your critters.
Well, thank you, Anne.
And how long will the rerun be available? Probably won't get to it until after Christmas. I'm gonna leave it up for at least a month, and it's gonna be attached to the announcements, so you can find it under the announcements, quick and easy. Right. But how long we leave it up is up to you, Lydia.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we don't want to cause any stress.
So until Lydia says pull it down, it's gonna stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the convention coming up, I'm not really doing a lot of housework that I should be doing.
Like real housework?
Any housework. Housework in the Facebook group, housework on the website, housework in the house. Yeah, all of that stuff. But yeah, that's just the way it goes here. So let's go to, oops, I'm going to get rid of this one. Can I can't. I'm in twice so that I can spotlight you so that nobody else would see me talking. So I'm in here twice. And yes, that is a thing. You can actually be in the in there twice.
That's good.
So just thank you so much, Lydia, again, for the beautiful Critter Square that you continually share with the group. And I know that they appreciate it very much,
Huh.
as I appreciate you and your artwork and everything you do for Artful Webinars as well.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you everybody else for, buying the packets and coming to these demos so that it's not just Cindy and me sitting here just chit-chatting away. It's nice to
Although
have.
we do like each other's company, but so we also want to say have a very Merry Christmas. I know that we're not all able to be with our families. It's going to be a very strange and different Christmas this year and New Year, but have the merriest you can have and stay safe. Do everything that you're supposed to do to keep your health in check.
Yeah.
And Lydia and I, we just really appreciate you more than you know. Thank
Yeah, we
you so
do.
much for a wonderful year.
Yes, that's definitely true.
And we'll see you in 2021.
Wow. Crazy. Crazy. All right.
Love you all. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Take care. Happy holidays.